All right, guys. It's Thursday, July 6th. And as I told everybody, this was coming. So, let me go ahead and turn this camera around because you guys are going to like the view a little better. So orientation is locked, huh? Well, guys, I'm not sure why my orientation is locked, but I can't do anything about that right now. So let me go ahead and turn this around. This is the fellow that owns First Management. And it's been a long time since I've been out here. Trees have grown up quite a bit. I'm not seeing any zebras out today, but there's some news articles I've put in the links in the description that you can go back and you can see a picture of him feeding his zebras and hear him talk about all the stuff. But that was done by the University Daily Kansan, the Lawrence, be the KU Jayhawk newspaper. But now I could easily tell you everything about where we're at out here. This is one of those places where if you don't know the area and you had no reason to be out here, you'd never find this, and you really wouldn't have a reason to be out here. It's a one-way in, one-way out neighborhood with a lot of big houses, and it's just outside the city limits, it looks like, from what I was seeing. It looks like the 1300 numbers, I'm sorry, the county numbers on the highways or on the roads start out here as you're coming north. But yeah, now I'm going to correct something real quick. Last week I said that Doug had come into the city hall and requested tax increment financing. I was inaccurate when I said that. What happened there was that request had come in at the same time as KU was doing the crossing, and I got the two mixed up. So it was the crossing doing the tax increment financing. However, it was Doug Compton who requested an IRB, an industrial revenue bond. And this is a sales tax exemption. Looks like First Management Inc. is requesting a 15-year, 90% neighborhood revitalization area rebate and an industrial revenue bond. Now, they went into all these nice new things about what all they're going to do with the building, but the reality is this is their corporate headquarters, and they're wanting taxpayer money to help fund it. In their request, they talked about the impact that they would have to businesses downtown. Well, yeah, you're going to have an impact to businesses downtown, but what's going to happen to 23rd Street Brewery? Are they going to lose a bunch of business there? Are you guys not going to go to lunch there? Where else are your people going to lunch right now that they're not going to go? So you're talking about a negligible there. Let's talk about why you need tax money for your own corporate headquarters. Last week, I asked you to put up 10 units to the affordable housing plan. In doing some research about what's going on, it comes to light that you have several thousand apartment units. Back in 2011, the UDK was quoted saying that you had 2,500. And I'm pretty sure that was probably a number that you gave them because it was a cooperative interview you apparently gave them. So 2,500 units you had in 2011, and I know there's been a lot of buildings since then. So you up to 3,500 now, 4,000? How many units do you have here, Doug? And why can't we get 10 of them into affordable housing? I called down to the housing office this morning, spoke to a young lady named Jen. Guys, I can see you texting, but I can't see anything out here. It's too bright. So if there's a mod in there, hope you guys will handle that. But I called down to Jen at the housing board this morning and asked her if there'd been any word from First Management on putting in 10 affordable housing units into the plan here in Lawrence. And she told me that they had no information like that. I asked you last week, put in 10 units or I'd come out and we'd start talking. This is Doug Compton's house. Doug Compton is our big guru guy around town. He's, you know, one of the richest guys in the area. And he's got his private zoo and his big house with his columns and out here. But the only thing he builds is the high-end stuff that you rent for high rent. And when you go out to their sites, where like Facebook and places like this, actually not Facebook, but if you go out to their Google listing, for first management and try to leave any kind of a review. I'm not sure if it's actually being seen or not. And then comments on their stuff are being restricted after somebody left something about them being a bad landlord. And we've heard this around here for a long time, that these high-end landlords, they don't really care too much about what they're doing in their buildings that they're managing. All they're caring about is the money that they're pulling in off of it. And when you're pulling in so much money out of this community and you can't help with a little bit of affordable housing, if you want tax money to do something, Doug, why don't you put in some tax requests or increment financing requests, incentive requests, and build some low-income housing? You know, I remember we used to have builders that did that in cooperation with different HUD programs and city programs and things like that. Big builders would come in and do some of that stuff and help the community. It doesn't help the community when all we get is high-end housing, luxury apartments that nobody can afford except for the high-end people that you want renting from you. Now, if you're concerned about the potential risk to your property, why don't we have you set up something with the housing board to have you rent to people who have proven themselves in other units? Maybe they can graduate into one of your units and make room for somebody else to go into one of the other ones and give it a try. But we got to do something different than just leaving people on the streets while we have people living in houses like this with personal zoos and zebras. You can go in and take a look at the pictures. You'll see the zebras. Flip around one more time here and we'll just take a look. I mean, he's got his lawn crew out here mowing his lawn. You know, hell, that lawn's too big for him to mow by himself. He'd damn near have to have a tractor to do it. You know, but this is all we're saying, man. You come to the city and you want tax dollars to make more money. That's not kosher, man, not cool. And it looks like what the City Commission and the Incentives Review Board did just last month, this guy was asking for almost $1 million in industrial revenue bonds and tax incentives and things like this, the NRA rebate. The Public Incentives Review Committee, I think, gave him about $84,000 to $86,000. I don't remember the exact number, but they approved about 1/10 of what he was requesting. And I wish they hadn't approved that, because he doesn't need it. That tax money can be used for other things. He obviously doesn't need it, guys. So why is he taking tax money to do this stuff without doing anything to help the community? That's the question. And if we have people like this that can't help the community, I mean, I don't make near this guy's money, not even close. So if we can't have people like this that are going to help support the community with the advantages that they've had, I'm going to put the phone down a little bit here because there is a worker pulling out of here. That was somebody, Eddie's, some spa service. There you can get a nice view with the gate open. I'm not trying to highlight low-level workers and people just doing their job for a living. I'm trying to highlight people that continue to take from the community and don't want to give back. You need to give back more before you start taking. Doug, I'm asking for 10 units, man. You've got thousands. We just need 10. Let's start with 10. And when we're done getting 10 from you, we'll move on to the Fritzel group. You know, we've already known what they've done with some of the incentives that they've gotten. Let's talk about the Oriad district when we get there. But right now it's you, Doug. We need 10 units. Doug Compton, First Management, we need 10 units into affordable housing. Anywhere in town, we need 10 units. And it shouldn't be that difficult to get it done. Anything else, guys? I can see some text now. It looks like it's coming through. Wow, boiler building, nothing over 99,000. Grants or loans. I think what he's doing is getting tax rebates. I think is what it's called. An industrial revenue bond. I'm not clear on exactly how all that works, but when he's coming and taking our money to do it, You know, what does he need our money for? Does it look like he needs tax dollars to do anything? I bet if he fired one of these lawn guys out here, he could afford to eat dinner if he ever ran short. Yep, tax rebates, Travis. That's what I was thinking. That it basically it lowers his tax liability, where over that 15-year period, he doesn't have to pay as much toward the money he would be paying into our tax rolls. And what that does is it puts a higher burden on the rest of us that are actually paying our taxes. And I'd like to see one of us try to submit for an IRB to build our house. That would be kind of neat, wouldn't it? And you know, you talk about Section 8 there, ex-bootlicker. You know, it's not like he's going to go broke on the Section 8 housing. He's going to be able to build it and make a profit, but he could go ahead and do that type of housing and make his profit and walk away and leave something that people could afford. But what he'd rather do is build these massive apartment buildings and these high-end luxury apartments and then keep them for his management company. Because you see, he's got first construction and first management. So basically he gets the best of both worlds. His construction company can come in and request all the incentives to do all this stuff and then pass it over to his management company to rake in all the downline profits from it for the rent. Travis, the first management units my parents live in currently is infuriating. Never respond to repairs, and the roads around the properties are literally turning into sinkholes. I wouldn't doubt it, Travis. I've seen a lot of complaints about first management properties and heard a lot of them from different people. And it's about the same as what we've experienced out here a lot of times with the landlords that don't really care. All they're doing is trying to make a dollar. I'm a dusted homeless. I could use a few bucks for a room. Yeah, Doug, help a guy out, man. So, all right, guys, share it around. Take a look at the links in the description. There's a lot of info in there, and I linked back to where they had put in for the tax money. Again, I had made the mistake of mixing up the tax increment financing that was put in for the crossing with what Doug had submitted around the same time. And just to recap, that got kind of halfway shot down. He got 10% of what he requested last month through the city commission. It looks like that kind of stuff is getting approved. 10%, he still shouldn't have got any of it. You guys have a good day, and thanks for tuning in.